Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry gamers.
Hello, and welcome, boys and girls, to the 190th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We are powered by 8bit.net and those sexy legends over at audiotechnica.com.au. But more on them later. I'm your extremely humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan8bit. And joining me today, my island best friend. You can find her at Miss Allie Hart. Obviously, it is Miss Allie Hart. And joining us today to fill out the trifecta, very special guest, coming all the way from the Button Mash podcast. You can find him at Hangs with Rog or at Button Mash Pod. We're talking Roger Brasse. How you going, mate? Welcome to the show.
You went with Brasse. I love it.
I know.
I love it. I'm so good, man. So happy to be here. Thank you guys for having me.
Mate, it's taken some doing. We've had some scheduling conflicts and family and kids and all that kind of stuff. You know, who wants kids and dogs, mate? They just get in the way. They cause dramas. They, impact podcast recording schedules. But we're here now. And Roger Brasse. I was feeling sort of a bit of spice on there. So I sort of went off script and went Brasse. But yeah, man, welcome. Good to have you here. You are one half of the Button Mash Pod, obviously with your other ride or die, Chris Hansen. I've been doing this since August of 2018, getting close to 100 episodes. You want to give us the elevator pitch on who Button Mash are, what you do, where we can find you?
Yeah, for sure. So, yes, as Brendan mentioned, it's been almost a couple of years now. It's crazy. It's just one of those things where it's two best friends talking shit to each other on a Friday night, and then we thought, hey, maybe our conversations are actually interesting to other people as well. Why don't we test it out? And we've always wanted to do some sort of content creation, and that's how Button Mash was born. So it's just two best friends talking video games for a couple of hours, and it's grown to Twitch streaming and having guests over and hanging out with some people, which has been a lot of fun. So yeah, that's what it is. You can find it pretty much anywhere now: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. And yeah, as I mentioned, I play some games on Twitch about 3 times a week now as well. So twitch.tv/buttonmashpod as well. But all the handles are buttonmashpod, one word, pretty much.
Yeah,
everywhere.
would you say the main sort of hub that you'd want to direct people to would just be the website, buttonmashpod.com? Because that's got, I guess, all the distribution of the episodes, the social links, the streaming and everything else.
Got everything. Definitely. So that's www.buttonmashpod.com.
Beautiful. Now, you guys... Similar story, I guess, to how we are. Like, it's just good mates getting together, talking nonsense about video games, then laying it into an audio form and sending it out to the masses. So you got some good energy. You danced that infotainment line really well, where you got a lot of good banter, got a lot of good laughs, some pretty spicy hot takes here and there. Chris especially is quite blunt with some of his his opinions on things at times. So he's probably the yin to the yang in that situation with you boys. Buttonmashpod.com is the centralized hub to find you guys on. But yeah, it has been a pleasure to get you on here. We're going to have some fun. We got a lot of news, some reviews and opinion pieces I guess we can cover off on as far as some of the stuff we've been playing. So I guess as you are the guest of the show, I want to know what you've been up to, because there's a game on here that you've been playing that neither Ali nor myself have touched yet, which has come out to much critical acclaim. A lot of hype. We got it here early. We're talking Final Fantasy VII Remake on the PlayStation 4. So before we get into it, are you a Final Fantasy purist? Are you one of the sort of core fans, or are you a bit late to the party as well?
A bit late. So the first one that I completed was Final Fantasy 15, which only came out, like 2 or 3 years ago.
Mate, exactly the same. I'm exactly
Yeah, so I've played a lot of them in the past, but I never played through the entire game until Final Fantasy 15.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how far in are you? Have you finished? Are you part way? Because I think it's about 60 hours for what I'm seeing on the internets.
Yeah, I think if you've just power through the main quests, it's supposed to take about 35 to 40 hours. I'm about 10 hours in at the moment and loving the crap out of it.
Nice. So you think it's justifying the hype and the positive press that's doing the rounds?
I guess it depends what you're into. I'd like to think if you were into Final Fantasy 15, then you'd be into this one. It's still a lot of, you know, like weird comments, weird dialogue that probably gets lost in translation as well. And I hope you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to describe it too much, but it's like weird, cheesy dialogue between Japanese people, and but it's similar stuff. The combat is very similar. It's sort of semi-real time. It's not your turn-based RPG like it used to be. So if you're into that,
I like that they've sort of changed that sort of methodology up with it, because obviously OG Final Fantasy VII was turn-based, going through the menu structures. Are you healing, are you attacking, what are you doing? Where now you do have to sort of have a little bit more of a sort of on-the-fly process, which is kind of cool as far as that real-time strategy they've employed into it. So, I haven't picked up a copy yet. I got full intentions of getting into it, but there's just too many games out. I know we say this all the time, but this time of the year is absolutely bonkers, and it's probably not giving Final Fantasy VII Remake the respect it deserves, me saying that, because it is a game that's been on everybody's radar since it was dropped, 5 years ago, I think that initial teaser might have been at E3 way back when.
Really?
and then
obviously this is just the first chapter of however many it's going to be. So, yeah, it's on the list, but I don't know. What about you, Miss Hardy? You going to get amongst 7 Remake? No, not for you?
No, it's not my cup of tea. I just, based on how long you guys have said it is, and, I have no patience for that. I've seen a lot of people play the demo, and I don't know how I feel about the change of the combat, because now it looks very, like Kingdom Hearts. It's kind of, they took a note from that. But overall, I think I've only played Final Fantasy 8 and 10, which are an interesting combo, I think. So, no, I will probably not be buying this or playing it anytime soon.
Yeah, so it's getting good reviews. Obviously, Metacritic is currently sitting at 87, so very positive press. Obviously, it's got the 12-month timed exclusive on the PlayStation 4, so they've got it for until 2021, or maybe COVID's going to delay it getting onto the Xbox and the other platforms that it'll inevitably land on as well. But yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see that Square stuck the landing at least, because I was very skeptical if it was going to be any good. 15 was very underdone to me. There was holes in that storyline that you had to watch the episodic video or whatever they made off the back of it to get some clarity on the story. You're just meeting people you have no idea about that get written in or written out, and killed me.
I was all into that. I was like, yes, I went to the movies and watched the feature film. I watched all the anime episodes on YouTube. I was into it, man.
Yeah, you got the full 15 experience.
I did. I so did. Not even ashamed of it.
Yeah, the weird thing is my most memorable sort of activities in that game is the cooking and stuff, just the random things and the fishing, the stuff that has nothing to do with mainline games. I'm just all about same as Animal Crossing. Fishing is just this zen sort of moment for me, and I'm all about it. So still dabbling with the Elder Scrolls Online. Sadly, you're not on a platform that I can play with you on, because I've got it on PC and Xbox One, and I was all about Elder Scrolls Online when it first dropped. I got to veteran rank 6 on Xbox, so I had hours upon hours upon hours of this game. But sadly, I just got to live through you now on the PlayStation 4.
Well, I've just bought it on Steam actually, because it was $20 for the collector's edition. So here I come, baby.
Nice.
Here I come.
What's the character combination you're rolling? What's your race and your class?
So I haven't started on PC yet, but I'm gonna go for a necromancer.
Oh, nice. Yeah, bring them undead skellies around and wreak havoc.
Yeah, just because it's not something I've tried before. Obviously, I don't want to have the same characters I have on PS4, because that would be boring. So I'm gonna try the necro. Give it a crack. Yeah,
I've got a Nightblade that I'm rolling around with on the PC at the moment, and then I've got a Dragon Knight on the Xbox that sort of just was like a DPS tank hybrid from back in the day, rocking around in her wedding dress, just kicking ass. So
in a wedding dress?
Yeah, you can have all kinds of random costumes and things you can rock in. So you fight all these monsters, and she's in a wedding dress and a little crown. So okay. Nice juxtaposition as to what's going on.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so Animal Crossing. We've all been playing it. Are you, Rog? Are you a bit of a purist? Have you played much of the franchise before, or are you a first timer like me? Or what's your story with Animal Crossing?
So, my story with Animal Crossing is I've bought a copy of, I think it was New Leaf, the one on 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
I've bought it, but I gifted it to Chris for his birthday. So, this is
you're a good
also
man.
my first Animal Crossing.
Ooh. And
How you
Not a
finding it?
purist, no. I love it,
Yes.
dude. I love it. Oh my god. I did not expect it to love it as much as I do. It's so good.
Something special, isn't it?
It really is. Apart from those bloody eggs.
oh,
Oh my god!
Can't
The
wait
Easter
until they're
event at the
gone.
moment, or the egg event,
Soon.
or the bunny day, or whatever
yeah.
they're calling it on there, kills me. I get excited when I see the sort of present balloon silhouette on the ground, and then I look up.
Well,
Fucking
they
bunny-themed
released
one
they
again.
released that update, and I have seen a significant decrease in eggs. But it's like,
Really?
yeah, I have, yeah.
How many hours you in?
I don't know. How do you check?
You just go to your profile and it'll show. So just go to your
think it was-
Switch landing page profile and it'll show X amount of hours or more.
Yeah, right. I think because I hadn't played enough, it wasn't showing me. I played more
Okay.
now. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I would say about maybe 30.
It's a slippery slope because 30 is good. Like you say that to most people about a game, like, oh my goodness, like I think I'm tipping
pretty
maybe
tamed.
90 to 100 now. And Miss
Yeah.
Hart, how many hours you got so far?
It's gonna sound so bad after me saying I don't want to play Final Fantasy because it sounds long. I'm 170 hours into Animal
What? Holy moly.
and that was only the other day, and I've played a heap since.
Yeah, you are
That's
an
impressive.
animal. But I got to say, I've been to your island a few times, and you can see that you're putting the work in. Like, it is gorgeous. There is flowers and trees everywhere, paths like laid out with following these flowers and trees. Everything's well thought out. Like, that's one thing that we've talked about offline a few times, and no doubt a lot of first timers have encountered the similar issues that I have, where you haven't really. Like, you don't really think outside of how the island's going to look in the end game. You just sort of go, oh, yeah, I'll chuck that house there, chuck this there. And then when you get more power and more tools at the end, you go, fuck, I need to move this again. So that's 50,000 to move that to there. That's 50,000 to move that. Now I need a bridge. Now I need an incline. And it gets so daunting and so stressful. It kills me. It really kills me.
I've only just today spent the money to move my house finally. So, like, I'm actually a little bit sad because I'm moving myself away from all the villages, and I've got this like semi-attachment now being a part of the hood, and now I'm moving away, so devastated.
So when you move your house, do you get to move what's surrounding it?
No, it's just like your house, like, you know how they set up the little, you know, the rope and the fence kind of bit where you're always like,
Yeah.
that's all it is. So I've had
I'm
to
not
like
about
dig
that.
up my flowers and pick up a few
Oh, no.
lamps and stuff. So yeah.
Oh, no.
It's tough. Like, I spent, not even exaggerating, probably 2, maybe 3 hours last night alone moving a fountain, and I had the full-size T-Rex skeleton in my house, like in one room as like a feature piece, and it went wall to wall, and it took up half the room. So I'm like, all right, I've got to think about this more smartly. So I've now grabbed all that statue and put it right in the center of town the second you walk in through the bridge, and lining all that up, and then I dug like a little river trench around it and everything, so it's on its own little island as you come in, and just lining all that up, as well as all the custom flooring I put in before that. It took me probably 2 to 3 hours to complete last night, and I was nearly in tears by the end of it, because like getting all the symmetry from like going straight right through, and then you wanted it centered as far as your eye line, and then I had to move the tailor, and then I had to move this other thing. So I've got it done now, but oh my god, there's moments in this game where you need to put it down because it can be so overwhelming.
Look, custom floor like pathways that you can get via QR codes, it's daunting, but it's so rewarding once you nail it. Like, I think that like having a custom pathway that you can just scan online through a QR code can just like up your town's look massively. So I recommend it. It's tedious, but it's rewarding.
Yeah, I've got a gripe because I'm in the end game now. I've had Mr. Slider come and play his gig and everything like that. Now he's just rocking out every week, and I've got access to the island designer.
Yeah.
options now, so I can build cliffs, or I can build elevation, I can build rivers, and I can obviously then do custom paths. The fact that with customization you're limited to the slots of like 50, I think, or 50 or 42, whatever it is, you've got maximum customization squares of around that number. And I tried to put in a big custom basketball design, like a little basketball stadium at the back of my house.
Yeah.
And if I went with this full design, which I wanted, which I fell in love with immediately, so I guess it's on me, it would have taken up all my other customization slots. And so what that means is all the custom pathing I put in, if that tile gets replaced with a basketball square, it then becomes basketball square floor tile everywhere. So I can't do it. And it upsets me that I can't buy more slots from, even if even if it's 6,000 Nook miles or whatever, I'd pay the money to double that space so I could get more customization going on my island. It really shits me.
To be
really shits
fair,
me.
like when I saw all those slots, I honestly thought, I'm like, who's going to fill them out? Like,
Yeah.
I've still got tons
That's what I
of
was
like
thinking
open
too.
slots, but when you told me like I don't have enough room, I'm like, what? But you've shown me the detail, and it's like it's a very detailed basketball court. So yeah, like every like little curve and every little like edge and framing and everything, I can understand why it takes up a lot of slots.
Have you dabbled in the customization space at all with it, Roger? Have you started doing some custom shirt designs? You put a button mash logo on it, and you're repping the brand out on the island. What have you done much there?
That's the first thing I did. Of course, I have a button mash t-shirt and a button mash phone case. Of course.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah.
Yes, a little bit. I did play around with it, but oh my god, I went to someone else's island yesterday, and there's some crazy stuff out there. It's insane. People are so creative.
Yeah.
I just feel dumb.
I feel a bit that way too. Like Rach, my much better half, she's got a real good eye for it as well. And like just the way she's got it laid out, and there's just thought to it, and it's all pretty, and it's all meant to be where it's meant to be, where I feel some of the stuff of mine's just thrown there eclectically, and I'm just trying to make it work. So just being able to visualize the island as a whole is killing me. But I made a little pizza restaurant. I made a little gym area yesterday. I've sort of fenced off my park. I've got a little Zen garden / pseudo cemetery, which is kind of weird when you think of it like that too. So I've sort of just started filling out things across the island. It's very peaceful. And those like Zen tombstones, they've got to be tombstones, right? The Zen rock or whatever they call them that you can buy from Tom Nook.
It looks like it. It looks like a tombstone.
So got that going. Loving life. It is just the time sink to end all time sinks. And with the corona, obviously still got its claws very stuck into everybody. It's nice to just get lost in this island life and just fluff around for hours where you don't even really achieve a huge amount, but it feels like you do. Like when I finally got that T-Rex skeleton laid down, I'm like, oh my God, I can retire from life right now.
You did that
happy
so early though. You did that so early.
Yep. Yeah, so that's been my prized possession for quite a while. Got a nice little kitchen. Got my little bidet in there. I need
in the kitchen.
Wish you could put the kitchen. Oh, it's one of the same. Getting dirty, getting clean, same thing. But yeah, I'm loving it. Loving it. So Miss Hart, I see something you've been playing here, which we talked about in depth last week, and I didn't expect to see this on your hit list here. You've been playing some Resident Evil 3 Remake.
Yeah, so I share a Steam account with someone who bought it. So I was like, well, it's no loss to me. I'll just give it a go. It's impressive graphically. Like I mentioned last week, I've never played this. I never played the original, so this was very, very new to me. I don't like at the start how much it's like play and then stop for a video or stop for like a story progression. It really bothered me that I kept on stopping, but I've been reassured that changes further on, like it doesn't happen so much. But I got stuck very early on. I got stuck when you're given the task to turn on the power or whatever. I looped the entire city block 20 times because the fire down that alleyway with the fire hydrant, I'm like, it says I need a tool to access it. I picked up everything. I killed every zombie. I shot every damn little box that you can get more items from. I did so many goddamn loops, and I did not understand why I couldn't find what I was thinking was like a wrench, because you'd obviously have to wrench the fire hydrant.
You're looking for a big old hose.
I had that hose. I had that hose pretty early on, actually.
Oh no.
And, but in my mind, my brain goes, well, you need a tool to actually turn on, like, you know, to access the fire hydrant. So I spent what probably was like half an hour running loops, just not figuring. I'm like, where am I getting this wrong? What am I missing? So I have yet to jump back in now that I've been informed that the thing that I found at the start was actually how you use the fire hydrant. So I was being a bit too literal with like my gameplay. So
how far into the game is that? Because I'm not too familiar with it.
it's not far.
It's like the first.
It's not
I
far.
feel like I would do
45
this.
minutes.
It's something I would do as well. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I can't. I don't want to.
It's so bad. Like my brain was like working overtime because I just didn't understand. I'm like, I either need like a chain, like something to break chains, because there's like 2 sets of chains that I ran into. Or all those items where it's like with a lock on it, the same damn lock. I'm like, is that got to do with something? I was shooting the locks and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't understand why I'm not progressing. Why can't I find whatever it is that I need to find to move forward? So I feel like a bit of a dick, but then I also feel like it's not technically my fault as well.
The franchise has never explained much to you as far as puzzle solving goes and things like that. So I feel ya. I was lucky, I guess, because in the demo, that's the area you're running. Like, it sort of fast forwards you straight to that part where you've got to try and put out this fire to progress the story. So I had an idea already when I started the full run through down. But yeah, it's intense. Like, trying to work out where it is. Like, there's never a clue where it's like, oh, it was, this item you're looking for is in this building or whatever. Like, it's always, you're just running, exploring, and opening doors and hoping for the best. And yeah, like, finding the hose really opens up the story after that, obviously, but I feel you, because it's a good area to cover, and there's a lot of buildings to look into there, and then a lot of rooms and a lot of subsequent enemies attached.
It got to a stage where every zombie was dead, and I was just hanging out in the streets by myself with just a bunch of dead corpses around, like carrying all these like herbs and like gunpowder. I had so much ammo because like I'm just like hanging out, like not knowing what to do. I'm like, this is not a good first impression of this game.
It's so good. It's so good. I implore you to keep pushing through, and now knowing that you've at least got the fire hose, so you know what you've got and where you need to go to open up this next path, because just after this, it gets pretty spicy. So I'm not going to say anything more than that, but yeah, I want to get your opinions on what happens next, because you're feeling like a bit of Rambo right now. I guess you got all the guns and the fire power in the universe.
Got a bloody crystal.
Let's see what
I don't
happens
even
in the
know
next
what
few
that's
hours.
for. It's like, okay, I've got a
Roger,
hose and a crystal. Yeah.
Are you a RE man? Do you play much Resident Evil? Is this on your kill list?
No, I've become very much a fun hunter, where if I'm not having fun, I'll stay away from the game. And Resident Evil just stresses me out. I played the demo of Resident Evil 2 remake last year when that came out, and I was like, I'm not about that. I like having fun with not having to think about how much ammo I have. I just want to shoot things without having to manage my inventory in those games. So yeah, I finished The Evil Within last year for the first time, the original one, and I was
Great
like,
game.
That reminded me of why I don't like those games. It's just too stressful.
I get that. Like, and obviously hearing what I just said isn't going to win you over.
Oh no.
Soon.
Not at all.
I guess
Thank
the only
you.
thing I could say in that regard is potentially because if that usual flavor isn't your cup of tea, you could start with the assisted mode, as they call it. So you start with an assault rifle, you get more ammo, enemies are slightly weaker, so you can still get the experience and get the jump scares and the heart rate going, but feel a little bit more in control and less helpless.
Okay. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah. So, and you can either start the game like that, or as you play, and if you die a few times in a row or in rapid succession, the game actually says, hey, would you like to switch to this assisted mode because you're kind of shit right now? Here's a carrot. Come on.
Nothing like when a game calls you out on your bullshit. Damn.
Oh, it hurts. Trust me, like I copped that part way through with the part I got stuck at, and yeah, it just punches you right in the soul. Like you question your gaming ability. Where you're like, God damn it, Capcom, leave me alone.
I love it when it goes the other way though. Feels good.
Yeah. But yeah, persist through because I wanna get your take on some of the interactions with the Nemesis and some future progress in the game. So, but I'm equal parts excited and impressed that you jumped in on this, and you jumped in so quickly after my glowing reviews. Give the episode prior to this a listen for some good feedback, because maybe we'll do a deep dive sort of spoilery cast episode like we did with Animal Crossing on this in the next few weeks once you hopefully finish it and see the future for Jill.
Yeah.
All right, so one other quick thing. I watched a movie this past weekend called Guns Akimbo. Have you guys heard of this? Do you know of it?
Yes, I'm very curious. I want to know, is it good? Cause
Yes, me too.
It ticks a lot of boxes, but you're wary.
I think it's worth a watch.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy, zany, over the top. It's got Daniel Radcliffe and Samara Weaving as the two leads in this movie itself. And what it's about is it's sort of set in current day reality, but there's this upstart that's occurred called Schism, and it's like a 1v1 real life deathmatch thing that gets streamed online akin to a Twitch. So it's one person wins obviously and the other person loses by way of death. So it's actually legit, like it's real murder that gets broadcast on the internet. And just the way that it's so aware of, I guess, the streaming culture is something I really love. Like they cut to a lot of people watching it and just the way they're reacting, or you see like the live chat coming in, and it's the shit you see in the bowels of the internet, the mouth breathers and the real trash talkers and whatever else, and the trolls, and it's kind of really cool how aware and how much it nails that sort of side of the streaming culture. It's really, really coolly shot. Like it almost feels like you're watching a video game play out. Like the camera angles are real zany, and they're sort of often sort of flipping and rotating the shot. Big bursts of neon. Daniel Radcliffe, like the story or the premise in itself is he's a software designer at a video game company. Very much dead end job, bit of a loser of a dude. Samara Weaving is Nyx, who is sort of almost the lead dog in this schism, and she's been killing everybody. So she's sort of a fan favorite anti-hero, and he outside of work jumps online and just trolls people on the internet. And he jumped on Schism and started trolling. Oh, you guys are shit. This sucks. Da 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 da. And so the head of Schism and his cronies rock up to his house, knock him out, and he gets woke and he wakes up, and his hands have two guns bolted to them, so they've like screwed them through, and his fingers are all molded to the grip, so he can't get them off. Like they're attached to his hands permanently, and he's got I think 50 bullets in each of the guns. And he's just trying to navigate not only normal life, but he's also then been thrown into this game where it's like, okay, you've got to kill Nyx to survive, and if she kills you, she gets her freedom or out of this game allegedly. So it's this weird cat and mouse where she's this seasoned killer. He's this newbie troll from the internet with two guns, and he's like just the little things, like seeing him try to get dressed, try to do things, try to navigate his phone when he's got no hands really. So it's like, yeah, guns strapped to his hands, bolts and screws tying it all together. But it's just good, crazy fun. It's about 90 minutes, and it just doesn't sort of take its foot off the accelerator the entire time. It's just blood, viscera, cool sort of shots, really bright neon splashes here and there. Just the way it's all shot, it feels like you're watching a professional stream / a video game on the screen. Really good fun, and yeah, Daniel Radcliffe, old Harry Potter, and Samara Weaving, who has become probably the queen of violent film and sort of horror and thriller and suspense these days, really nail it. They fully commit to these roles they're playing, and it's cool to see how it plays out.
I have to put it on my never-ending list of movies I have to watch.
Yeah, no, good dumb fun. So, I guess if we shift gears, quick little bit of housekeeping. Obviously, 8bit.net is your central hub for all things related to 8bit. But if you want to go directly to the web store, shop 8bit.net, and also patreon.com/weare8bit if you want to get behind us monetarily. If you cannot, do not worry. Obviously, rating, reviewing, and subscribing to us on your podcast hosting platform of choice is the best way to give us direct and immediate support, because those ratings and reviews help keep the emotional lights on in our hearts. Once you're done rating and reviewing us, be sure to obviously do the same to every podcast in the hashtag 8bit Collective, or just the podcast you're listening to on the regular sort of listening cycle you've got. And while you're there, obviously head on over to buttonmashpod.com. get to the direct links to their iTunes, to their Spotify, to their Stitcher, to every other podcast player and preference of your choice. And be sure to rate, review, subscribe Roger and Chris over there, because they are good dudes releasing good content, climbing to 100 episodes. I'm very excited to see what you got going on for episode 100. Can you share any spoilers? I know we're a few episodes away, but have you got anything you can let us know about what you got planned?
To be honest, it's we haven't really talked about it until you were on the show, so we're still planning on live streaming us dressed up as characters from the games that we came up with when you were on.
Oh, I can't wait.
We'll see how that pans out now that we probably won't be able to see each other in person, so that'll be interesting.
Just if you can work out how Zoom works properly, maybe use that platform, because full disclosure, we tried to get that working this morning. No dice. Next week maybe we'll have that working well, but for now we're still kicking it on Hangouts. But yeah, that's about all the housekeeping. Let's move into
This week's news headlines.
All right, we've got a little bit of this and that going on this week again, and I'm going to go ladies first rule for this first one. Ooh. And this headline reads, streaming platform discusses nudity. So maybe a bit of boobies, a bit of bum, a bit of doodle talk there. All of that. And I've broken Ellie. Island game with animals now banned in the East. So we going this, or we going that?
Let's talk about doodles.
Okay. All right. They it comes in an assortment of sizes, colours, shapes, and ferocities. Most males have them. They are great. They allow you to direct your weeing to whichever angle you are holding said doodle. But anyway, let's move into this article. It comes via way of Tom Phillips at Eurogamer. Twitch wants to be more transparent in its rules for nudity and clothing to make sure you do not wear transparent clothing on camera. A little bit of wordplay there, Tom. I like that. The streaming service this week has laid out a detailed update to its nudity and attire policy to clear up the variety of situations where the rules clearly needed further explanation. In a nutshell, Twitch has got a lot more specific in what is allowed and what is not. Previous guidance largely amounted to wear what is appropriate for being in public. So the general rule remains the same. There should be no nudity, not fully or partially, and absolutely no genitals or buttocks. But there's also some new specifics. No outline of genitals should be seen even if covered, and they should be covered. The whole area, in quotes, extending from your hips to the bottom of your pelvis and buttocks, Twitch has clarified. This means opaque material, no partially see-through stuff. Breasts, for those who present as women, we ask that you cover your nipples. What Twitch defines as exposed underbust is not permitted either, though cleavage is unrestricted as long as these coverage requirements are met. Cosplay and digital filters/avatars must follow all the same rules. There are no exceptions except for educational purposes or nude art drawing. There are exceptions to upper body requirements for those who are actively breastfeeding and those who are applying body art, or if you are streaming at the beach, in brackets, though those who present as women must still cover nipples. So now you know. So, obviously this has been a very divisive topic for a while. A lady most recently got banned for breastfeeding on Twitch, probably around middle of last year. And then obviously you get the whole hullabaloo on the back of this about booby streamers stealing views, which is always the funniest thing. And it looks like, that cleavage is still allowed, and rightfully so. Miss Hart, what do you got to add to this? Now Twitch, I guess, has clarified things ever so slightly, you'd say, right?
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, it seems relatively clear, but they have to always, adjust the rules, because for every rule they make, there's a person that tries to push the line on what they can get away with. I mean, it's no mystery that there are people out there that try to, take advantage of, how they can present themselves in order to gain, money or followers, subscribers, whatever. So everyone's always trying to push the limits on what they can get away with. The whole titty streamer thing is a bit, stupid, because, I mean, females, what are you going to do? They're there. They're, like it or leave it. But the opaque material, partial see-through, also the exposure of buttocks, that's obviously needed to call for, because obviously people are trying to get away with it and showing a little bit more than they should. So cover them nips. I'm curious, are boys allowed to show their nipples? They only specifically said women.
Yeah, I don't think it got clarified on there, and I sort of did a little dig around on that, and it doesn't really get addressed. So I think a shirtless male is still fine for now.
Okay.
Which obviously is another sort of discussion that could be brought up and probably infuriate some of the people out there, where it's, you know, good for one group and not for the other as far as these rules they need to adhere to.
Mm-hmm.
Roger, have you encountered any of these in your streaming career? Have you had a couple of sort of potential bans where maybe you had a little bit too much buttocks showing when you were streaming some Elder Scrolls Online, or anything you've sort of copped there?
No, not really. Not personally, no. But I think it's a pretty interesting topic. I did look into it a little bit myself as well. And there's a streamer who does weightlifting on stream, and he doesn't wear a shirt, and it's completely fine, apparently. But I kind of get it. It's just, it definitely needed to be addressed, because there's another one that was a bit more recent than the one with the breastfeeding, where she was doing body painting, and she's been doing it for a while, and then out of nowhere she got banned, and she was like, I thought I was following the rules, I had my nipples covered, and like I'm just doing like art stuff, and she got banned. So yeah, it's one of those things, like you said, if it's every time you come up with a rule, there's going to be someone who comes up with a way around it or something. But at the same time, it definitely needed some more clarity, because it's just one of those things where it's like, you think you're doing the right thing, but then because they're not specific, they can go, oh, hang on, this doesn't look right, but hey, there's nothing that says, you know, specifically you're not allowed to do this, so hey, I'm just going to ban you, kind of thing. So
yeah, it's a tough place to be. Like, the vast majority of streamers, you know, they're not there to try and skirt the rules. They are just there to make content and whatever else. But there is a few people on from both sexes where they maybe do dance along what is right and what is wrong, just to try and maybe create controversy or talking points, or maybe it's going to generate more interest and more eyes on their content. So it's nice that there is a little bit of clarity and clarification. But yeah, as you were saying, Roger, I saw just this morning a body paint streamer actually copped a ban, and she was adhering to all the requirements, made sure she had sort of the nipples taped up and everything else. But no, she still copped a ban this morning. And I saw a few other body paint artists jump on and sort of say, oh, we don't do the tape, we use like almost like a suction or stuck on bra to sort of fully alleviate it, so it's almost semi-covering but still allowing you to, you know, apply the paints and things. So there is still some info there to be interpreted and clarified, I think, from Twitch. But at least I guess they're trying to do something and sort of say, here's some regulations, here's a little bit more data and details as far as what's good, what's not good, because yeah, where there's a will, there's a way, and people like to operate in the grey. So, yeah, it's probably not going to be the last time we see someone getting banned for doing anything sexually suggestive or showing a little bit more than what they're allowed to do. So, yeah, at least Twitch is doing something, because often they sit on their hands and just let it play out. So, we'll see. All right, Roger, I've got a bit of this or that for you. So this headline reads, survival horror franchise's next entry will have some big changes. Or that new streaming platform goes free. You got this, or you got that?
Let's go with this.
I was secretly hoping you were going to take this. So this comes via way of Shannon Grixty over at Press Start. And they're talking about just about one of my favourite franchises of all time. Maybe Ali's new favourite franchise now she's digging through Resident Evil 3. It's been leak galore for the last few Resident Evil games, and it looks to be the same for Resident Evil 8. According to Biohazard Declassified, the game will apparently be known as Resident Evil VIIIage, as in VIII for 8. So a little bit of wordplay there, and it falls in line with how the box art was for Resident Evil 7. The game will apparently release in early 2021, which would make sense given the last 3 Resident Evil games have all released in Q1 year after year, and will take place in Europe. Unlike Resident Evil 2 and 3 remakes, the game will be first person, similar to Resident Evil 7. The game will be a departure from the series, featuring a witch that stalks the player. It's also set to focus on hallucinations and other supernatural beings. The story is set to feature Chris Redfield, and in terms of the inventory, it's set to be closer to that of Resident Evil 4, so you can fit more in your inventory. These leaks have also been corroborated by Dusk Golem, who leaked several details about Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 3 before they were announced. Information about Resident Evil 8 also started leaking earlier in the year. Information came out that the game would have a clever name, and it would also be set in a village. Both of these things definitely match up with what is being reported now. Speaking of, that is cutting edge reporting right there. I love that there's leaks that would feature a clever name and a village. So, yeah, we got Resident Evil 8 or Resident Evil Village apparently under construction, due to arrive, I'm assuming Q1 of 2021. Bit of a change in the series. I played Resident Evil 7. Did you guys try it at all, Roger? I know you've sort of said, nah, like this sort of type of game isn't for me, but I thought I'd throw it out there because it is a little bit of a different sort of flavour for Resident Evil.
I tried. I played the demo and I was like, man, it's horror is one of those genres where I'm like, I wish I enjoyed it. So I keep trying, but I just can't. Just can't. I can't believe, like, I don't know if you're one of those people, one of those crazy people who have played Resident Evil 7 in VR and finished it. You have.
I have, and it was
you madman.
It was terrifying. It's overall probably one of the scariest experiences I've ever had in video games, or even just like media. Like if we're talking watching scary movies and stuff, like it was next level. Like it's perfection, that game for the horror space, and especially for Resident Evil 7 in VR. Like everyone's talking about, Half-Life Alyx is the game that's truly showing AAA can exist on virtual reality. I'm like, motherfucker, Resident Evil 7 showed this like 3 years back. Like, where were you guys when this game was doing the rounds? So, yeah, I'm all about this. I like that Chris is back. The witch that stalks the player just feels like maybe they're going to take a little bit of sort of the nemesis sort of nods there with RE3 and have this sort of freaky witch person coming at you. The hallucinations and supernatural things interesting because they sort of started leaning towards that a little bit with Resident Evil 7 anyway, with the crazy family out in the backwaters of America. But I cannot wait for this, and I know I'm going to be shitting my pants from probably the opening credits to the closing. Miss Hart, what about you? You going to get in on this?
I'm actually excited to see that they're really hanging on to that supernatural element, because when they first launched some like content and playable content, from what I remember, of Resident Evil 7, that little start part where you're a part of the news crew walking through the house, the thing that I loved, and by the way, too chicken shit to play that game, but the thing that I loved was that people were like, wait, there's like hidden ghosts in the background. Like, did you see the ghost at the stairs? Did you see the ghost in the window? And I'm like, this is the shit that I love to be scared by. But then I feel like it kind of, like when you played the game, it kind of put that away, like it wasn't such a main focus. So if they do focus on that in this, in Resident Evil 8, that'd be pretty cool. I love that shit.
Yeah, I can't wait for it. There's going to be people sobbing around the world playing this game, especially if they do bring it into VR, which makes sense. Like they're going to be using the same game engine from 7 and from RE2 and RE3. So they know what the technology and the power of VR will do. And that was just on PSVR. It could run very, very decently on that. So imagine running that on like a full-fledged Vive or a Rift.
Yeah.
So I cannot wait to be running around freaky-ass Europe. You know, you just think of like the gothic sort of cityscapes and things like that with witches and supernatural shit coming at you. Like, oh my goodness gracious, it's going to be something.
Yeah.
But Rog, give it a go. Get back in on Resident Evil 7 and see if you can push through. Get in on it VR, because it is nothing scarier in video gaming than that experience, to be honest.
That's what puts me off.
Don't do it.
I'll try just for you.
Man, I'll even send you down my PSVR if you need one. If you don't have it,
I've got one. It's just I can't. I haven't even tried it. I just playing on a normal TV, I was already shit scared.
Yeah.
So in VR, I can only imagine how crazy it would be.
Oh, it's something. Related but unrelated, head on over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/VIIIage, and check out the footage of our man Salim the Dream Abraham playing Resident Evil 7, and watch that video because in there was parts where I genuinely thought Sam was going to die, like in real life. Like I thought he was having a legit heart attack. We let the cameras keep rolling and he was keeled over, obviously holding his chest and everything. And just from the fear and the anxiety and the suffocation of this game, like it's amazing. And you can sort of experience the game through the dream and see where he nearly dies. So, yeah,
Jeez.
That's certainly something to check out. YouTube.com/VIIIage.
Yeah, but play the game. Give it a go. We had someone that nearly died, but hey, Rod, you play it.
Yeah, awesome.
It'll be fine.
Brendan trying to kill me over here.
who doesn't want that on like their, you know how you see the adverts pop up and it's like 10 out of 10 or, you know, game of the century or whatever little sort of comments that they put on the reviews. Imagine that, like, this game nearly killed us. Like, you know, if that doesn't sort of speak well for a horror game, I don't know what does.
Gee.
All right. So we're moving on to the next this or that. And this, Twitch records broken by game that isn't even released, or that. Everything announced at this week's Inside Xbox. And I'm going to take hold of this one, and I'm going to go with this. And this comes via way of Rebecca Valentine at gamesindustry.biz. Riot Games' upcoming tactical hero shooter, Valorant, isn't out yet, but it's already approaching and even breaking some Twitch viewership records. According to Twitch and reported by The Verge, Valorant broke the single-day hours watch record in a single game category yesterday with 34 million hours watched. It also reached 1.7 million concurrent viewers, which is currently the record for total concurrent viewers held by both the League of Legends World Championships and Fortnite's The End event. Though Valorant isn't even out yet, a number of popular content creators have received early closed beta access and began streaming the title earlier this week, while a Twitch partnership gave viewers watching specific streams of the game a chance to receive a key themselves. Valorant is set to launch this summer, while a slate of other upcoming titles such as League of Legends Runeterra and Wild Rift are also planned for some time later this year. So this game, you know, Miss Hart and I have talked about this here and there over the last probably month or so. This game does nothing for me. Like, nothing. Nothing. Zero. Negative even. Let's go -2. It just looks like CSGO and Overwatch had a baby and the baby's very ugly and...
Wow.
Not the best. Like, that's my opinion of this in a nutshell. Like, and like, I'm not a big CS fan. I don't really get it. I'm not very good at it, so maybe that's why I'm not so positive towards that franchise. But yeah, it just doesn't do anything for me. And does the world need another hero-based shooter right now? I'd say no. Rog, what do you say about this?
I agree. I've been slowly stepping away from the sort of PvP scene. I enjoy much more playing PvE stuff, hence ESO has been taken over my life for the past year or so. So yeah, I'm very similar. I looked at it, I was like, yeah, okay, but same as you, like, I don't think we need another hero shooter. Nah, definitely not for me. I haven't even watched it. I watched little bits of it and I was like, cool, it's just another one of those games, like, whatever. Very whatever about it.
Miss Hart, it looks like you got something to say.
I want to play it. It looks cool. You guys are shitting on it. I'm like, I kind of want to play it. I want to give it a go. It does look like CSGO and Overwatch. But, you know, I don't really appreciate you insulting someone's child without getting to know it, Brendan.
It pissed on the floor.
Maybe it's beautiful on the inside.
Yeah.
That's true.
It has a great personality, but I'm going to shit on this article a little bit because in order to get like a code or access to the closed beta, they encouraged you to watch certain streamers. So I know I just left a stream on to see if I could get a code, and I left that stream on for like a solid 5 hours hoping that I'd get a drop, and I didn't. I saw someone else say on Twitter that they left their stream on for 14 hours and they finally got a code. So there's also been reports of people just throwing bots in a bunch of streams so that they could get codes and then sell them. And there was actually Riot had to like kind of say like, hey, don't buy codes, beta codes, because we're shutting them down, we're blocking the people, we're, you know, closing off those accounts where they've accessed the code through botting. So, yeah, these numbers are impressive, but when you're holding some kind of exclusive, like, just keep watching, you might get a code, I mean, everyone's probably doing the same thing and just filling up those streams just so they can get a code. They might not be watching, they're probably just, you know, hanging out.
Yeah, so they're sort of hollow records they're holding now, this game, because, probably a good percentage of the people that were viewing this game in those 34 million hours that were watched, they were probably off making breakfast. Yeah,
I was playing Animal Crossing.
Priorities. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, obviously, Riot have a huge name. They're one of the biggest developers and publishers in the gaming space today. So obviously, it's going to get immediate eyes on this product. Will it be successful? These numbers lead towards maybe it will. But yeah, you take that with a grain of salt based off the bots and the people just hanging out waiting for a drop. We'll see what happens when this game comes out later this year. Will it find its place? Will it become something of its own sort of shooter that can stand up there with the Overwatches and the Rainbow Sixes and the CSGOs? Will it create enough of a fan base to survive? I don't know. Like, you see a lot of these shooters come and go very quickly, whether they be battle royale games, whether they be sort of hero shooter styles. So it's interesting, but does nothing for me. I know a lot of shooter friends that we've got on the socials are keen for it, and they've been queuing for drops or got in. Alex Van Aken from OK Beast got a copy, and he's one of the probably best shooter players that I know in our social circle, and he seems to be pretty hyped on it. So maybe it's not as bad as I'm painting it to be. Maybe the baby just looked a little bit ugly in that light. Maybe it was sort of, halogens. We needed some white fluoros to sort of show this baby in its beauty, as opposed to the dirty old sort of yellow lights you get from the traditional halogen bulbs. So yeah, maybe there's some hope for Valorant yet, but we'll see. We'll see more as sort of the feedback starts rolling in on people playing. But let's shift into the main course of this episode, and this is all about the PlayStation 5's controller, the Dualsense, which has been revealed this past week. This article, it's a bit of a longer one, but it's coming via way of Adam Bankhurst over at IGN. And announced on the PlayStation blog, the Dualsense will keep much of what gamers love about DualShock 4 intact, while also adding new functionality and refining the design. Touch was a big inspiration when designing the DualSense, and haptic feedback is one of the ways this new controller will help bring PlayStation 5 games to life. Sony mentioned that this feedback will add a variety of powerful sensations. Ooh, that sounds pretty good, doesn't it? You'll feel when you play, such as the slow grittiness of driving a car through mud. Adaptive triggers have also been incorporated to L2 and R2 buttons, which will help players feel the tension of your actions, like when drawing a bow to shoot an arrow. I think that's a nice little subtle nod there to Aloy in Horizon Zero Dawn, if you don't mind me saying. Fitting these new features into a brand new controller was a challenge for the design team, and they worked closely with PlayStation's hardware engineers to make the controller somehow feel smaller than it would end up being. The angle of the hand triggers were changed, and some subtle updates were made to the grip. They also gave thoughtful consideration into how to keep a strong battery life for the DualSense, and wanted to ensure the weight of the controller did not get out of hand. One thing that will be missing from the DualSense is the share button that was featured on the DualShock 4. Sharing from the controller is not gone, but that previous button was replaced by the new Create button. Sony promises more details will be revealed on this change as we get closer to PlayStation 5's launch, allegedly later this year. DualSense will also have a built-in microphone array that will allow players to easily chat with friends, even for those who don't own a headset. As for the controller's color, it's a bit of a non-traditional design as far as PlayStation is concerned. Usually PlayStation controllers have a single color, but the DualSense has a two-tone design to make it stand apart. Additionally, the position of the light bar, which will be returning, was moved to give it an extra pop. Now the light bar sits on either side of the touchpad as opposed to the top of the controller. PlayStation went through several concepts and hundreds of mock-ups over the last few years before their final design was reached, and it was tested on gamers with a wide variety of hand sizes to ensure maximum comfort for as many as possible. DualSense marks a radical departure from the previous controller offerings and captures just how strongly we feel about making a generational leap with PS5. Jim Ryan, president and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, said in a statement, "The new controller, along with the many innovative features in PlayStation 5, will be transformative for games, continuing our mission at PlayStation to push the boundaries of play now and in the future. To the PlayStation community, I truly want to thank you for sharing this exciting journey with us as we head towards PS5's launch in holiday 2020. We look forward to sharing more information on PS5, including the console design, in the coming months." So this thing came out of nowhere, just sort of snuck out in the morning this past week, like to no hype, just sort of leaked through the PlayStation blog. The internet is already running rampant with memes and funny sort of images of this controller. Roger, what do you think of this first and foremost? Do you like it? Do you get what they're trying to do here? How do you feel?
The two-tone thing is, I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't like it right now, but then again, I didn't like the design of the DualShock 4 when it was announced, but now I love it. So I'm hoping the same thing happens here, but I just wish it was just the one color, whether that's white or black. I think the two tones just aren't doing it for me. I think I'm not sure exactly what it is. I saw it and I saw everyone getting excited about it. I was like, I don't like it. I want to like it. I want to be part of the zeitgeist, but I don't like it. Yeah, the features, on the other hand, I'm very excited about. The haptic feedback sounds very exciting to me. The what is it? The triggers as well. I've got some
the adaptive triggers.
Yeah, so that part I'm very excited about. But the design itself, in terms of aesthetic, not really.
Yeah, I'm with you. What about you, Miss Hart? When you saw this thing, were you like, oh yeah, that's nice, or you sort of just like, I don't know what they're doing here?
I was like, welcome to the better controller design, PlayStation. Thank you. I always hated the PlayStation controller and how to hold it, and now it looks like they took a page from like Xbox and did that nice like curve for the handles, like finally. So I will definitely be enjoying that. Although I don't like the idea of the microphone inbuilt into the controller, and it's not because like all the stupid idiots that are like, oh, PlayStation, Sony's going to be listening to you. It's more for the fact like we don't know how good that microphone is, and I don't want to be stuck in a lobby with the person that's using that microphone because I don't think it's going to be great.
It really won't be. Like, you think of the standard throw-in mic that you get with the PlayStation 4s, the audio quality on that thing was pretty crappy. Like, comparatively to your Turtle Beaches, your ATs and whatever else, the mainline peripheral companies that make quality headsets. Usually the baseline, even, remember the old Xbox headset, the single earpiece with the mic? Like, that ain't some high quality kit there. So it's not going to be the best. I like that it could be, you jump on and like we see each other online, like be on in a minute, just grabbing grabbing a drink or whatever else, and then you chuck your headset in and get ready to roll. So
it's going to be that person who's going to be like, oh sweet, there's a microphone built in, but meanwhile they're playing the PlayStation in the living room where the kid's screaming, someone else has got the radio or the TV is somewhere else, and you're just going to hear it all because they're not, maybe they don't really care about like quality or having a great microphone. They don't care. They're just going to let it go so everyone else can hear everything that's happening in their house. So
we'll certainly be seeing some pretty quick mutes, I think, in lobbies. When you just mute your party, mute the party, just mute them all as quick as you can.
Yeah. And just like looking at the comparisons based on what PlayStation's offering and what Xbox is offering, I still think Xbox has got it with the dynamic latency input. That's just a big deal to me. I don't really care about the adaptive triggers. As a person that sucks at fishing on Animal Crossing because I'm just too trigger happy, I don't know how I'm going to feel like, feeling like some resistance in my controller playing a game. I don't know how I'm going to feel about that. I think it might be off-putting, but I don't know. Won't know until I guess I get my hands on it. It
depends on the game you're playing. Like I've got all that, like you can obviously configure the sensitivities and things on like the Elite controllers or the PlayStation 4 equivalents, whether it be their own mainline stuff or the Razer ones that they've done and things like that. So I liked it that way. If you are a little trigger happy, you can sort of desensitize that trigger a little bit to ensure that you're not misfiring or you're only shooting when you want to, or you're only doing what you need to in the game. So I like that they are, I guess, getting more and more intelligent at the controller edge. It's not just a set of joysticks and some buttons. Like there is real world feedback. I love even just the little light bar in it. I think that's always been such a cool little touch on the PlayStation controllers. So having that sort of make this thing as a nice little feature piece and incorporating a little speaker in the controls, I always liked where you could get sort of game-specific things popping out of the controller to give you almost a little bit more 3D audio sort of functionality as you're playing.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. Obviously, one of the big things as far as the differences between the two controllers is there's internal battery on the PlayStation again, where the Xbox has got the AA style, which is a little bit divisive. Like, I don't care probably either way, to be honest, but I think overall, like I've got a heap of rechargeable AA's that I just run on rotation from my Xbox controller and it's no issue. And usually those batteries last well longer than a typical PlayStation 4 controller charge off the USB port there. So I got no issues with that. The create button, fair enough. That's the way the world's going. You know, everyone's got the power to stream and create content at their fingertips, so it makes sense that they're doubling down and further going away from, you know, a start and select as we've known for most of our childhood and adult lives. But it's cool to see. I'm just wondering, with this sort of black and white sort of two-tone colorway, is this what the console itself's going to look like? Almost like a bloody spaceship, you know, like with these whites and blacks.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. I'm really interested to see what it looks like. I suspect it's probably going to follow suit and be a two-tone as well, which I don't know if it would bother me that much on the console itself, but we don't know what we'll be looking at. It could very well look like a spaceship. The PlayStation 4 Pro sounds like a spaceship right now. So.
Oh my God, it really does, doesn't it? It is so loud, but it's exciting that we're actually getting to see something about this PlayStation 5, because it's been radio silence for so long. Like, Xbox have been very forthcoming with, here's a controller, here's the breakdown on the console, here's this, here's that, doing interviews, doing sort of tech breakdowns with Digital Foundry and things. So it's nice to see Sony now, I guess, getting on the bike and starting to pedal a little bit and saying, okay, here's the controller, we've got more information coming soon. Next thing's naturally going to be the console announcement, and then a bit more of a breakdown there. But yeah, the controller I like that it's bigger. I like it's beefier. I love a good heavy controller. That's probably my biggest gripe between Sony to Xbox is the PlayStation 4 controller. It feels like, in a fit of rage that I occasionally get into playing some of these shooters, I feel like I could twist and snap that controller very easily, where the Xbox one, at least I'd have to work for it to try and break it. So yeah, I'm really excited to see what happens next when they do the next announcement. No doubt it's going to happen sooner rather than later, because we are in April already. So PlayStation 5, maybe they're going to hold out and wait till they would have done that official launch around E3 time with their own digital conference. I don't know, but the controller, two-tone, some of the features, awesome. Keen to see what happens next.
Yeah.
You guys buying this day one? Roger, I know you're predominantly you're the PlayStation guy. Ali, as far as consoles, I'd say you'd probably lean slightly more Sony, would you say?
I guess I lean more on PlayStation due to what most of my friends have, and also because I'm predominantly PC anyway, so having an Xbox just feels like a double. So yeah, I'd probably get the PlayStation.
Day one purchases for both y'all?
Probably.
Yeah, most likely.
Just curious to see what the price comes in at with the current global climate. Obviously, manufacturing costs would be increasing. Our dollar, it's flattened out a little bit against the US dollar, but I really want to know what it's going to come in at in AUD for us Aussie peasants. Obviously, over there in the US, Miss Hart, you got a little bit of a leg up. You'd probably save a little bit of money there overall, but yeah, we're going to get stung. We're getting stung.
Yeah.
All right. Let's shift into this last part, eh? Only 2 games coming out this upcoming week. Someday You'll Return on the PC on April 14th, and Dead by Daylight making its way to mobile. So it's on iOS and Android, coming out on April 16.
That's bizarre.
Which is insane. Is it going to be just a light version, from what I can understand, akin to like a PUBG Mobile, something like that? That's from what I can gather as far as how they want to position this as. But yeah, that game's still hanging on. It's good to see. I've never really played much of it. I've got it on the PC, and I think I've got it on the Xbox, but I think I've had 1 game total.
I've never played it.
Right. I know, Roger, you're the big horror fan here. You love getting scared and everything. I'm assuming you're probably all about Dead by Daylight. You excited to be able to play it on the go on the phone?
Oh yeah, I can't wait. I've played 1 game on PC altogether, and I've played maybe a handful on PlayStation 4 because it was free on PS Plus at some point. And I bought it on PC recently to play with some friends, and I got 1 game in. I was like, cool, got my fix. I'm done. I'm moving on.
That's enough for me. I'm going back to Elder Scrolls Online.
Yep.
Oh well, there's worse ways to spend your time, that's for sure. But yeah, Dead by Daylight landing on mobile devices April 16th. So is there really any Dead by Daylight players out there? They're going to get it on the smartphone. Let us know how it goes. I'm not going to be paying, because no doubt it's going to be a paid game. It might only be $10 or something, but it's still going to probably have a cost attached to it. But Yeah, it's available April 16th for iOS and Android users. Okay, and now moving into the very last part of this podcast.
Tweet of the week.
And this tweet comes via way of handle at Xbox P3. And for those that don't know who that is my best friend from the internet, Phil Spencer. Love you, Phil. And the tweet itself reads, Xbox Game Pass. And then a ton of Japanese characters. My Japanese is non-existent, so I had to translate this. And what it translates to is Xbox Game Pass is going to be launched April 14th in Japan, which for those that aren't sort of playing along at home is huge because Microsoft hasn't had much success in the Japanese market ever, really. It's been a very difficult sort of market for them to crack, but it's something they've been focused on. They've been regularly trying to go back to have some success. And now bringing in the Game Pass to the Japanese area is fantastic, especially with this current climate where no one's got, people have nowhere to go. So they can sit at home, pay their 1,100 yen, which roughly translates to around $10.11 USD per month. They can get in on Games Pass, and it covers all the games that are currently existing on Games Pass, so there's no limitations there. And obviously they've got the PC variation as well. I think this is cool. It's just a good little success story, and it was also nice to see Shuhei Yoshida from Sony fame drop a little congratulations in there as well. So it's nice to see sort of the warring cousins acknowledge one another's success and sort of celebrate one another there. So, Miss Hart, what do you think about this?
It's good that they're getting involved. I actually didn't know that they had such a difficulty reaching into the Japanese space. So I'm glad it's a forward step for Microsoft because I, especially recently, have been nothing but glowing reviews of Game Pass and the benefits of it. So it's good to see that another market's going to get access to it and, reap the rewards. It
is the best service in the game space, irrespective of publisher, I think, or developer. Roger, what about you, man? You didn't have any plans to move over to Japan? If you do, at least you've got Games Pass to sort of tide you over for the next little while.
Yeah, well, before I saw this, I didn't even realize that it wasn't out in Japan. I thought it was a given because Xbox is available there, that it was a service available. So, it's crazy that it wasn't before this. But man, like I've talked about Game Pass before and people think that I'm sponsored by Microsoft. I 100% agree that it's the best service available in gaming at the moment. I just love the flexibility that it offers as well. I can sometimes go, cool, I want to play this game. I'll sign up for a month or 3 or whatever. And they always got deals on. And then I'll quickly, as soon as I sign up, cancel the recurring subscription. So I don't have to think about it again. I'll jump back on a few months later. I think it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's really great. Like over 100 games at your fingertips straight away. And yeah, it's been a service that's been around since 2017. So for it to finally hit the Japanese market 3 years later, through no doubt much persistence from Phil and his team over at Microsoft there, it's good to see. And yeah, Japan are currently in a sort of state of emergency due to COVID. So yeah, they pretty much can't really leave their suburbs at the moment. So everyone over there can jump on Games Pass and enjoy a ton of games. Most recently, obviously, Bleeding Edge jumped on there for free as well. So any Microsoft exclusives are day one available via Games Pass, and it saves you a bucket load of cash. And as you heard from Roger there, you can be pretty cheeky and pretty clever in sort of working your way around the system just to get a little taste for that month of that game, smash it out, cancel it, and when the next thing comes out of interest, re-up it again, download it on day one, get into it, and cancel it.
As a person that accidentally forgot that they were paying for it and just constantly paying for it month by month by month with just completely forgetting, I agree that that's probably the safer way of doing it.
Yeah, I'll do it straight away. Like it's just automatic now because if I don't, I'll just forget it and I'm going to get charged and be like, damn it, that's $10 I could have used for whatever else.
Yeah.
So yeah, this has been the main line, I guess you could say, of the Hungry Gamers podcast, episode 190. Random question: have you found a pleasant spike as far as your food deliveries at the moment? Are you utilizing a lot of like Uber Eats or Miss Hart, DoorDash, or Menulog for us over here? Are you guys big fans of sort of the food delivery services, or are you braving the wastelands out there and heading down to Coles or picking things up as you are and fighting over some toilet paper?
On my end, no, with no deliveries whatsoever. We are trying our best to limit going and doing like either a weekly or like every 2 weeks to hit a grocery store, and we're actually only going to one over here that's called Trader Joe's, because they're really diligent about like letting only so many people in. They've got all these like lines marked on the ground to make sure that you're 6 foot from the next person. They spray your hands with hand sanitizer when you walk in. They spray your hands with hand sanitizer when they walk out. They're constantly cleaning products and the shelves and everything. So yeah, if I'm going anywhere, I'm going there because I feel pretty damn safe.
Yeah, nice. For us, it's we didn't really get food delivered before this whole thing, but now we're going nuts, and I think every company's putting more effort into that, because that's going to be how they make money now. And definitely been a bit of a spike. 100%. It's much better than what I've experienced previously.
One thing that I don't really want to say annoys me, because it's just the way the world is right now, but have you, like, I don't know if it's the same down your way, Roger, but Coles and Woolies, like, they've cancelled their home delivery services. Obviously, they've probably got some things they need to iron out in the back end as far as quality control and ensuring cleanliness of the product that gets delivered. But in this day and age, you think they'd ramp that up and have more delivery trucks on the road. So that's all gone for now. So you actually do have to, at least up here in Queensland and my region, have to then go brave the Coles and the Woolworths. And it is fucking bedlam in there. Half the people don't give a shit. The other half are dressed almost in like a Hazcam suit. So it's very uncomfortable, and touching anything freaks me out. Watching people, looking for the best apple, and they're rooting in up to their elbows, touching all the apples. And it's just like, well, I'm not having apples today. I'm going to get something else. Like, it's such a messed up, stressful time.
It really is. It really is. I was there the other day, and
the panic buying is the worst. Like, obviously the essentials, your toilet paper, then that rippled through to paper towel, to cleaning wipes, to pastas, to pasta sauces. Now it's even moved to your flours and stuff. So, like, you can't find any flour unless you want, like, poxy gluten-free flour. And ain't nobody willingly wanting that. So, all the essentials are just done and dusted. And, like, I get that Coles and things like that, they've got, the limit of 2 per person of most things. But I've actually sat and watched when I was getting a coffee from a shop the other day, a person go in, buy their stuff, and then like put their stuff aside. Their friend grabs it, and then they've looped back in and done another shop. So they're just doing circuits, some of these people, just grabbing whatever they can. And, we've only got 2 at this purchase, meeting the requirement. But then, they go in, go out again, and oh my God, it kills me.
wow.
I mean, that's you know what, this could be an open topic, but like any kind of like thing being put in place to like just reduce numbers of people, being in the same area, and as well as just like, overbuying, anything is better than nothing right now. Yeah. It's just people just thinking that the world's going to end tomorrow. So it's like, yep, we need to buy 1,700 packets of pasta just in case we need to start living underground for the next 12 months. So, but anyway, that's my random rant. Yeah, so this has been the end of the Hungry Gamers. Rog, anything you want to say? Do you want to give us some more plugs? Where can we find you? Anything you got coming up you want to bring to the table here as far as what to expect on future episodes, streaming schedules, so on and so forth, mate? The floor is yours.
Beautiful. So, yeah, as you mentioned, the best place to find us is probably our website, www.buttonmashpod.com. All the links are on there. So we release the podcast every Wednesday, and I stream on Twitch 3 times a week. It'll usually be Tuesday, Friday, and then either Saturday or Sunday. But it's been a lot of fun. Chris and I talk, obviously, video games, news, and what we've been playing, similar to here on the podcast. And then it's good to get the community involved on Twitch as well, with chat and all that. So having a lot of fun over there, and really appreciate you guys making time to have me on today. That's been a lot of fun.
Mate, anytime, and it'll no doubt be not the last time we have you on here, unless, the sort of doomsday preppers are right in thinking that we're all going to go. But if we make it through the back end of this, which I believe we will, we'll get you on. We'll get you on in the future. We're excited to see what happens with episode 100 coming up in, what would it be, 6 weeks' time, thereabouts, 7 weeks' time. It'd be coming up quick.
It's not. We're recording episode 94 after this.
Oh, nice. So cannot wait to see what you guys come up with there. But yeah, be sure to give them a follow on the podcast channels. Obviously, rate, review, subscribe the guys, and then head on over to Twitch and give them a follow. And if you can afford it too, chuck them a subscription because, you said you're going to be recording episode 100 live on Twitch with some sexy costumes, hopefully. Touch wood.
Yeah, we'll try our best. We'll try and make it work. If we have to do it remotely, it's going to be a bit of a challenge, but we'll see what we can do. Try and make it happen as best we can.
You got this. But yeah, buttonmashpod.com is the hub to find all things Roger and Chris over there. Miss Hart, anything you want to say before we close this down for another week?
Head to our Discord. I'm going to actually start posting some Animal Crossing stuff so you guys have some context on what we're talking about. I'll be posting some stuff. I'm sure Brendan will be posting some stuff there too. So drop on by Discord, see what's going on.
Yeah, direct link for that. If you go to 8bitnation.net, there'll be direct link straight off that page there, straight onto the Discord, and we'll set up maybe an Animal Crossing specific section in there. Mm-hmm. Maybe get in there, drop some photos of your town, drop some photos of your house, show us how you decorate in them rooms, how you maybe not decorate in them rooms, and just maybe even get like a little Trader Joe's situation going on where we're like, hey, I've got extra mats for this. Or I've got some product, come along and pick it up, and we'll get a little sort of barter system going on. So 8bitnation.net for all the hub action for Discord, Facebook, Patreon, web store, all that cool stuff. But yeah, this has been episode 190 of the Hunger Games podcast. Thanks to each and every one of you for stopping on by, giving us a listen, giving us a rating and subscription. Those things mean the world to us. But until next week, 8bit Nation, we're back for episode 191 of the Hunger Games podcast. Much love.
Stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.